Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about invention, necessity, innovation, and logical fallacies. There are a couple of logical fallacies that anytime they arise, I try to push back on because, well, we'll get to that. I did this last night on Twitter. Because I did it on Twitter, conversation, of course, didn't go where I wanted it to go, but I tried to push back against the idea of a genetic fallacy. Okay, now what this is, it's when, because something originated with something bad, it has to be bad. Now it can go the other way, and if something originated with something good, therefore it has to be good. But it's normally used in the negative sense. This isn't true. Ideas, innovations, inventions, they stand and fall on their own. It doesn't matter where they originated. This is a pretty dangerous logical fallacy, historically speaking, because it normally gets used in conjunction with something called the fallacy of composition. And the way that works is, let's say one person from demographic X does something bad. Fallacy of composition states, well, then that whole demographic is bad. This, of course, is wrong. When you have that, and then you apply the genetic fallacy to it, this whole demographic is bad, and anything that comes from them is bad. Well, then, you really only have one option, right? You got to get rid of them. Those people are just no good. Some of the worst things in human history have come from these two logical fallacies working together. So when I see them, I try to push back against them. I did this by trying to use the U.S. military and things that, innovations that they could be credited with. If you don't know, it's worth Googling. There's a giant list of stuff you use probably every day that originated with the U.S. military. Now on to the actual point. During this conversation, a lot of people said that, well, it didn't have to come from the military. We could have just poured funding into civilian research and gotten this stuff. Yes and no. It didn't have to come from the military. Fact. But research alone isn't going to do it, because that isn't how the military spurs so much innovation. You need a challenge. You need self-interest. There aren't a lot of things that are as high stakes as the endeavors of the military. So what happens is you get the researchers, the engineers, and the people who are going to use this stuff, use whatever new technology is developed, they're going to use in the field. And they're all brought together. They're all in one spot. So you get that applied technology immediately. So just pumping the funding into research, that alone isn't going to do it. You need something pressing, a challenge, self-interest. Say landing on the moon. A big challenge. Something like that can spur technological innovation. But things like that don't come around so often. What is more effective is if it's a threat. If it's something that provides that self-interest that truly motivates people, because they have to be motivated. But it still doesn't have to be the military. Imagine if there was some global threat, something that all of humanity was facing, that we had to mobilize to deal with. Say climate change, for example. When climate change gets presented, when the mobilizations that are going to be required to deal with this gets presented, a lot of times it gets framed as a jobs program, and that is a good way to frame it. That's going to reach more of the people who are skeptical of it than it's an environmental thing. Okay, if the environmental reasons for it were going to sway them, they already would have been swayed. The jobs program is a good one. But there's still those people that isn't going to help. Because entitlement, people just wanting a handout. The fact that a mobilization the size of what we would need to combat climate change would probably develop more technological breakthroughs and more innovations than World War II did might be another selling point. That might be something you can tuck away, keep in your back pocket for those conversations, because people with pretty much everything need self-interest. And if they don't care about the environment and they're not somebody who would benefit from the jobs program aspect of it, the technological benefits might. That might be something that could sway them. As we're trying to rally support for this, we need to have every tool available, because it's going to take a lot. It is going to take a lot. We need a World War II style mobilization to get any real traction, to get anything done in the time frame that we have. This, it's just one more little tool in the toolbox. If we engage in this kind of mobilization, we will get technological breakthroughs that will send us ahead. Maybe that'll help sway somebody. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.